This episode of the What's Happening Delco podcast is sponsored by Delco Meets for Business. Check us out on Meetup at Delco Meets, the number 4 business, and attend one of our incredible networking events. Be sure to register, and we'll see you there. What's happening, Delco? I'm Rich Shane, and welcome to the What's Happening Delco podcast. Today, I'm joined by Chef Reeky of Cheezy Vegan. Chef Reeky, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Chef Reeky, what is Cheezy Vegan?
So, Cheesy Vegan is a concept that came about. I kind of inherited a business that was failing in Delco, in the Woodlyn area, and it was a opportunity for me to, showcase, some of my versatility, and in cooking and things like that. So, I took it as a challenge. Took over the failing business, and then the pandemic happened. So it never really got a chance to like fully take shape. But after the pandemic kind of like, I guess I want to say settled in, a lot of the scare was like, subdued a little bit. I was, able to launch the Cheezy Vegan brand, and show off that versatility.
So talk about the Cheezy Vegan. What can people expect when they dine with you, when they do takeout, when they come by?
So we like to use this, motif as integrity over growth. So you're gonna see the integrity. You're gonna taste the integrity in our dishes. We pretty much handcraft everything. We're not heavy on like frozen to the fryer or frozen to the oven. Most of our menu items, I'm gonna say 90% of our menu items are made from our hands, and we're not comfortable until we probably go through a recipe 5 or 6 times before I'm comfortable with saying, here, Shane, try this. Here, anybody try this. Here, Rick, try this. Anybody, we have to do our due diligence, to ourselves with these recipes, because vegan cooking is it's very, very niche, and it's very, very temperamental. You know what I mean? And some of the textures and some of the flavors to the palate can be off a little bit if you're not really careful on, what you're giving your customers.
Talk about some of these dishes, the fan favorites, the ones that have withstood the test of time and have made it onto the menu.
Perfect. So the first part is we wanted to kind of stand out a little bit with the brunch concept. You know what I mean? Because there's not a lot of restaurants dedicated to vegan brunch. And I know how hard it is to find, you think about eggs, right? You can get eggs anywhere, right? But where can you get vegan eggs from? What is a vegan egg? You know what I mean? So like, so the mung bean proteins of the world and all of these things that we make that have become staples on our menu, for starters, this is one thing. When I said 90%, this is one thing that we don't make, but Blackbird does it so well that we just buy from them, and that's their seitan wings. So we've tried making our own seitan from scratch. I mean, it's a very vigorous process. But I feel like if somebody does it just the way you would, and they capture the taste, the consistency, the flavor, the textures, and everything, you might pay that premium price, but it's worth it, because now you're saving labor hours, you're saving your inconsistency. Your cook's doing something wrong or being inconsistent, where that this stuff is being made the same way every time. So that's one of the things that became a staple on our menu is the seitan wings. Another thing is our unforgettable stuffed French toast. So that's a 3 layers of thick cut French toast layered with vegan cream cheese and strawberries. I mean, we batter it up. We pour triple berry supreme sauce over it. We ice it, put a little bit of salted caramel drizzle, vegan whipped cream, and I mean, bam, there you go. Another thing I'm that really came back to the menu because it was back by popular demand is the tofu banh mi. So we got some brunch going on. We got some lunch going on. I mean, our Italian hoagies are excellent. Our turkey hoagies, chicken salad. We make some real good deli sandwiches, and the wings. You know what I mean? So we kind of got like the brunch and the lunch thing going on.
Chef Reeky, I love the way your face just changes. It becomes like this. You're hugging a pillow, describing your food. I love the way that changes for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. It's a lot of passion. It's a lot of I just love to cook, man. I guess that's what's coming out. Like, I just, I really love what I do. Um, and I love that wow factor that you can give someone and that appreciation, man, that people have for what we do. We were just on with Bob Kelly on Tuesday from Good Day. And he kind of like, echoed the same thing, you just said, man. And I'm just think about it like this. We had a family come in, it was like four of them, right? And their two boys were allergic to almost everything. I mean, when me and you were growing up, we probably weren't allergic to anything, right? I know I wasn't, you know what I mean? But you got so many, nut allergies, tree nut allergies. Um, I can't have cucumbers. I mean, the weirdest allergies, any type of milk additive, or like there's so many different unique allergies today. And we have come up with, not, I don't want to call it a system, but we've come up with a menu that kind of like is allergen friendly. You know what I mean? And when the couple and the family came in with the two boys, the mom, and I'm not this, I swear to God, the mom literally cried tears at the table because her two boys could finally eat somewhere where they didn't have to worry about, catching hives or breaking out with something or getting rushed to the ER. You know what I mean? I mean, everything from the dairy to the nuts. I mean, even our cheese sauce, when we first started making it, we used the cashew base. I would like grind up the cashews and make it almost like a peanut butter. You know what I mean? But then, like I just said, so many nut allergies and things like that. So we try to, stay away from it. And I just came up with a recipe that just eliminated the nuts. I mean, like I said, this family was like, I mean, literally crying tears at the table, man.
When you're a parent and you see your child or your children struggle with eating and you don't know what's next and you think you dialed it in and the next thing you know now they're allergic to that or it's causing a reaction for
Exactly.
you, how was the world of being a vegan? How did you say this is the way my lifestyle is going to be and this is what I want to eat and the way that I want to eat?
So my journey, as we touched on, a little bit before we got on, my journey has, it's not like everyone else's. Mine is kind of unique. Mine is more of a discipline. You know what I mean? I was introduced to a group called Peace Advocacy Network, and I met them dropping off some goods to another cafe that we were doing like wholesale for. And she was like, "Hey, are you vegan?" I was like, "Nah." I was like, "I've eaten of a vegetarian diet before, but I've never like went full blown vegan." And she said, "Hey, we do a 30-day boot camp, and we set you up with tools and what to look out for with the nutritional labels and basically like support groups and Zooms and everything, like, because you think about it, going vegan, coming from eating meat and chicken and fish every day of your life to like cold turkey. Imagine it's like cigarettes. Imagine not having that cigarette. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, damn, like your palate, your brain is trained to eat these things and like not and unconsciously like just buy them or consume them and eat them. So it was a huge discipline for me to take the challenge and be successful. And like anybody else, man, I struggle day to day with things and misread a label or just really get tired of it. Like I really want, a piece of salmon or I really, you know what I mean? So it's like sometimes it's tough and the discipline is it gets arduous at times, but for the most part, the culture, some people do it for animal cruelty purposes. Some people do it for health purposes. Doctor says stay away from red meat, whatever case may be. So I just figured out, become vegan or whatever. So like I said, there's a lot of different concentrations and a lot of different whys for the vegan lifestyle. But for me, it was the boot camp. It's a discipline, and it just stuck.
You and I spoke a little bit at the beginning that you have done some work for a reality show. Hopefully, it'll air at some point. Can you talk about your experience with that and what it focused on?
So sure, yeah, it was fun, man. I have a unique background. So I in the late '90s, I was incarcerated. So um I actually my journey with cooking actually started there. So, since then, and I mean, I'm going back to like 97, you know what I mean? Since then, I was able to persevere through that and go to Temple University and get a business degree. Go to CCP, get a degree for healthcare management, go get a degree for culinary arts because I went to the restaurant school at Walnut Hill College. Um also back to CCP for construction management, OSHA 30 certified, a licensed contractor for the city of Philadelphia, and I'm a licensed realtor now. You know what I mean? So I sell and flip houses. I see your Remax, in the back. So I'm a realtor now for Keller Williams, Westchester. Um, I'm doing ground up development now. I just left one of my job sites just now before I hopped on. So I got a lot of exciting things going on. But like out of all of those things, and I'm gonna get to the reality show, I promise. But that's why I got picked up, because of all of these things. And then probably what I'm about to tell you now is probably like, wow. So like after all of these accomplishments, all of these milestones in my life, the biggest one probably came when I was pardoned by the governor. At the time it was Tom Wolf, for the crime that I committed in 1997. So that was more like a 2-ton gorilla, off my back. You know what I mean? Because when I was applying for colleges and just employment in general, a lot of doors got shut in my face. Just sitting across from somebody trying to explain to them your why and what happened and all that, kind of the interviews, kind of go left, which actually sparked my entrepreneurship. Like I tired of just sitting around people, sitting in front of interviewers telling them, my why and this is what happened. It just got a little old at one point. And I just said, I'm gonna gamble on me. You know what I mean? I'm gonna take a shot. And I opened up my first restaurant and I just never looked back. But the reality show, we were doing some manufacturing, trying to get some of my sauces and vegan chili into the supermarkets. And the marketing guy introduced me to one of his friends in Arizona and told him my story. And he said, definitely, this story has to be made public. So we hopped on a couple Zooms, and then they came from Arizona. My marketing guy flew in from Denver. They stayed at my Airbnb in South Philadelphia, and we just filmed, man. No, I'm sorry. The first time they came, they just walked around with me the whole weekend. We just went, we went to eat. I took them to all of the Philly hot spots. Took them to some restaurants in Delco and stuff like that. And then we set the date. Once they saw all of that, they was like, yeah, we definitely got to do this. So then probably like 45 days later, they came down with the camera crews. They hired some local crews to do some things. And we filmed for 3 days. So all of this happened because the director felt that my story was that powerful. They said, he's an Italian guy, Frank Torchia. So he's big on a Rocky concept, and he just really thought like this, not necessarily like a rags to riches kind of story, but the underdog story that Philly kind of, has that undertone. You know what I mean? With the Eagles always being an underdog and our sports teams always being underdogs and things like that. So he just thought it would be a good fit, man. And we filmed, and it has yet to be picked up, man. But talking to people like you and letting my story, not hiding my story, and being proud of what I, been through and came from, somebody will pick it up, man. We'll get there.
You talk about your life's journey, Chef Reeky, and part of that is when we talked prior to hitting record, there are different seasons in life. There are different seasons in our life overall where things change. You start different entrepreneurial journeys, different things that you do. You could have stayed in that season.
Correct.
You could have just said, hey, this is my life, this is where I'm staying, and sat in that season. You chose to say, look, this is winter, it's cold, it sucks, but I'm going to start getting ready for spring and summer and the harvest and fall.
It's a great analogy.
You keep planting seeds. You keep
down
the road, like with this pilot for this reality show. Along your life, along your journey, who's mentored you? Who's inspired you?
Honestly, this is all organic, man. I never really had like my dad. My dad was, it may be in my DNA, some way, somehow. My dad was an entrepreneur, but then he became addicted to heroin when I was a young guy, and he died when I was 14. Went to prison when I was like 3 or 4. Didn't see him again till I was, so he died when I'm sorry. He went to prison when I was like 3 or 4, came home when I was 14, and he died like 3 months later. So I never really had a relationship with him, but all the stories from my mom and his friends that we still see, and my family that knew him, your dad was a go-getter. He just fell victim to drug use. So I think, well, I know that it's organic and innate, so the mentor, I just kind of always been like an alpha, kind of whatever you want to however you want to say it or place me. Um, I think it's just all organic and all drive. I just defied the odds by not settling for the cold winter. And, I just didn't want to stop, man. I just couldn't settle with that being, you know, I'm just going to be, and this is no shot at a laborer on a construction crew, but I don't want to be a laborer. I know we need laborers, we need McDonald's workers, we need Wendy's workers, we need the fast food, we need all of these people for this chain of economy and this GDP to keep going. But it's not a monetary thing. It's a mindset thing. I'm more driven to be not just a laborer. I want to be the foreman, or I want to be the guy up here. Like, I want to be the one pointing the fingers and saying I want to be responsible for what happens next. You know what I mean?
To your point, and that labor aspect, we need so many more people right now to go in the trades. There's such a shortage of people that do the trades, but to the next step of being an entrepreneur, you can have that spark, but if you don't have anybody to keep the engine greased and to
Correct.
keep it moving, the engine's going to fail.
Correct.
And we need those segments together. Entrepreneurs, people that are going to roll their sleeves up and get to work. And
Absolutely.
rolling up your sleeves and getting to work is not a bad four-letter word. Work is
Not at
not a
all.
bad four-letter word.
Not at
And
all.
you see it every day, so much so that you've even started a nonprofit.
Correct. So you bubble everything you just said, right? And I'm a put it in like one brief synopsis. Like, everybody's not Joe College. I'm definitely not Joe College, right? But I use college as a distraction. You know what I mean? To keep me busy and to keep my mind from wandering, but everybody is not like, even when I'm sitting in the classrooms to this day, um, it's not for me, but I just know what my purpose is. Like, and everybody's not going to do a 4-year college. Everybody's not going to do a 2-year trade. So this is where those other workers, they got to find meaningful employment. And that's what makes the GDP and the economy keep going. You know what I mean? Because everybody's not, I mean, look at the trash truck guys and the utility workers and all of those people. We need all of these people for the cycle to continue. You know what I mean? My why with the nonprofit is kind of triple fold. One, it's like where I came from. You know what I mean? Being incarcerated. Two, learning the trade of culinary arts while incarcerated. Three, these young guys need us. Between the gun violence in Philadelphia, Delaware County, Chester, let's keep it in our tripod, right? You know what I mean? Let's just keep it local. It's so much gun violence, so much violence. One of our hats say choose your weapon, right? But it's a spatula, it's a chef's knife, it's a can opener. It's tools for you to use to empower yourself and to do better. So the Cloud Safe Kitchen nonprofit concept is all geared around not making a critical error first, not making a critical error, going to get corrected and then come home being better. We want to eliminate that thinking that you can pick up a weapon, that you can pick up and sell drugs and be successful. We don't even want that kind of thinking, in our fold. We want you to think, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this souffle I just prepared. Look at this pretty tomahawk ribeye steak I just prepared. Look at this vegan, eggplant steak that I just made. And when you put that in front of somebody and you get that wow factor and you get that, they cut it up and then they taste it and then they're just like, in bliss. Once I saw that a few times, I was like, oh yeah, this is it. This is it. Because it's gratifying. It's something I made with my hands. You know what I mean? And it's very, very gratifying. So I want that kind of attitude to be infectious. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I deliver. Like, I don't want my classroom to be boring and like somebody talking at you all day. I want to be with these guys. I want to be watching their knife cuts. I want to be like, having some good hip hop playing in the background, having some good rock and roll playing in the background, like, different genres of music. Let's make the classroom fun for these guys. Because, our attention span might have been short when we were in school. Theirs is probably 3 times shorter. You know what I'm saying? So they're tapping out faster than we would typically, in a classroom setting. You know what I mean? So, Cloud Safe Kitchen, the nonprofit, is geared around teaching these guys culinary arts, giving them something they can speak loud and proud about, and giving them purpose.
Purpose equals significance.
Agreed.
You can find significance anywhere where it makes you feel valued.
Yes.
That significance of what you talked about and what you described of plating something and
Mm-hmm.
bringing it to a customer, a friend, a family member, and watching the look on their face
Mm-hmm.
when they enjoy and consume and experience what you've created creates significance. And it also creates nourishment. What you're doing, this is Delco, man.
Yeah.
You're providing that
10,000%.
inspiration, that motivation. You don't know who you're going to impact each and every day, but when you do, you change lives. And whether it's somebody's health, their diet, their mindset, giving them shelter, whatever it is, we're going to change you from Chef Reeky to, Reeky the change maker next. So
I
that's
like that.
that's
I
what we're
like
going to
that.
call you.
I like that.
How do people find you? How do people connect with you?
So we are at 604 Fairview Rd in Woodlyn. And then, shout out to Delco too, man. Like I've been in Delco since around like 2017, man. And the love, the support. We were even in Chester at one point. You know what I mean? And just like I think everybody can get behind good food, man. So like, the surrounding suburbs and the surrounding areas, man. I mean, we had people coming from Baltimore, Jersey, just to eat our vegan food, man. So like I said, we're at 604 Fairview Road, Woodland, PA 19094. You could get us on Instagram at the Cheezy Vegan by Chef Reeky. Phone number 610-543-2300. We got a lot of channels. We're on Facebook, Instagram, websites, thecheesyvegan.com, chefrikiscafe.com. The list goes on, man. But look for our new location in South Philadelphia, man. Please, God willing, I hope this place opens in the fall, early fall, at 1216 South 17th Street in Philadelphia.
Dude, I can't imagine what you're spending every month on domain names.
Well, right now I pay GoDaddy annually for them.
All right, I'm curious where we're going with this, Chef Reeky. You're out and about in Delco and you have a cheesesteak craving. Where are you getting your cheesesteak, or where are you getting that vegan cheesesteak?
So in Delco, I would say Boardwalk Vegan. I would say Boardwalk Vegan for a vegan cheesesteak. I think I haven't really consumed any beef cheesesteaks in Delco, so I'm kind of biased. But I know that the police chief in Chester has a spot. I think it's called Liberty in the shopping center in Woodland.
Okay.
So I hear he's really good.
All right. Boardwalk has been named a couple of times, so they're a
Really?
standout in the community.
Yep.
What about pizza? Where are you going for your pizza craving?
You know what? 320 Market has a great vegan pizza. It's really, really good. It's pricey, but it's one of those things where it's quality over quantity. It's really, really good. It's probably the best vegan pizza I've had anywhere, honestly. And I only ate vegan pizza in like 3 places, so I mean, I'm on, my sample size is only 3, but the reason I say that because it's so hard to the vegan cheese itself when it melts is more creamy than it is like how real mozzarella has a little grit to it, a little bite to it. Even though it's stringy and pulley, you can still like it's to the tooth. Some vegan cheeses are just like sticks to the roof of your mouth, so it's like kind of creamy texture. But like they 320 Market does a great job.
Yeah, eating is about texture too. It's not just about flavor. And you
Correct.
bring about a great point that if you could experience all those senses, you're going to dial in on that. You're going to enjoy that more. You're out and about and you have a convenience store need. Where do you stop in? Wawa or Royal Farms?
Well, I'm biased to Wawa because I'm right next door to one. So I always, if I need something in a pinch, we're always going to Wawa. And even 320 Market, they have really, really good produce. And another one in Delco that I frequent is uh Martindale's.
I'm there once a week.
Really?
I love Martindale's.
Yeah,
I
I'm in
want to turn
Martindale. I'm
people on to
probably there like once
Martindale's.
every 2 weeks.
Yeah, so I love them. They've been around for such a long time, and it's amazing. It's like everything else. You don't know it until somebody tells you. You can
Exactly.
pass that 1,000 times, and
Yep.
then the next thing you know, you're like, let me stop in and see what they got going on. And it's a lot of stuff, a lot of great stuff, and they're really nice people at
They
Martindale's.
are. They are. I mean, hands down, man. They do a great job, and they have a really good mix of even allergen friendly things like gluten frees and all of those things. They do a really good job. It's like a hidden gem. You know what I mean? I stumbled across them. So you got the hidden gem, and then you got the happy accident. You know what I mean?
Chef Reeky, how do you describe Delco to someone who's never been here before or has not heard of Delco?
Delco to me is it's a really clean, fun town. Um, I've never I've never had a bad experience in Delco. Never. Never had a bad experience. I got pulled over by a Ridley cop once. I mean, he was professional. I was doing probably 50 in the 30. So, he was doing his job, man, and he recognized me. Oh, I had my Cheezy Vegan chef jacket on. He said, "Hey man, y'all doing a great job down there. Keep up the good work." You know what I mean? So like I think it's a really cool, fun, blue collar, get your lunchbox and your book bag on kind of town. But then you got some parts that are a little more like, upscale driven, like some parts of media. I ran the media courthouse cafeteria for a while before Capozzoli's got it. So I experienced a lot of different parts to Delco. And I just did an event at the Haverford YMCA off of Lawrence Road. Um, and I always find like more connecting and more like it's really nice out there, man. I never frequented that area, but I did the event and I'm driving through Eagle Road and all of that, man. It's really, really, really nice. So, clean, fun, it's always something to do. You can find things to do. Some things you got to dig for, but I mean, that's the art of it. That's the fun part is finding things to do. A lot of things jump out at you, the movie theater, the skating rinks and all of that stuff. But when you actually dig and start going to like Tyler or Arboretum and Rose Tree Park and all of those things, man, there's a lot of things to do, man. You'll never be bored.
You have friends or family coming in from out of town. You want to
Hmm.
give them or take them to a Delco experience. Where are you sending them or where are you taking them after the Cheezy Vegan?
After the Cheesy Vegan, I like strolling down State Street. I like a nice stroll down State Street, man. They got an Iron Hill Brewery out there. They got a Trader Joe's out there. They got a whole bunch of they got some Italian out there. It's a really good like the food scene on State Street. They even got dim sum. So I think we're going to take a stroll through State Street.
More than one dim sum.
Yeah, Tom. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Probably I can probably count three off top. But yeah, I've eaten at all of them.
Is there anything we haven't talked about today on the podcast, Chef Reeky? Anything you want the listeners to know more about you or more about the Cheesy Vegan or the 80 other things that you're doing with your life?
Um, So my two passions, I mean, we kind of touched on it, but my two passions are cooking and real estate, man. So um we spoke about hobbies and things like that. I guess I could call that a hobby, buying and flipping houses. But I will say this, anybody looking to purchase, need consultant help with real estate, opening restaurants, that's all in my wheelhouse. And I love to help people. Some stuff I can do at no cost. Some things, of course, if we getting a little out of the philanthropy kind of like realm, it could be at cost, but for the most part, man, like restaurant tours and people, a lot of people always want to dive into the restaurant business, and it's harder when you're diving in instead of like having a passion for it. You know what I mean? So just that, use Chef Reeky as a resource, man. I love talking to people. Come in, and if you just want to sit and chat with me, pro bono, man, just come sit and talk. Let's have a cup of coffee. I'm very personable like that. I'm always giving away stuff. You know what I mean? But I like meeting new people and I like networking.
Passion is going to get you through those days
Exactly.
when it's raining outside and nobody's coming to your place. Or you look at that really expensive produce item that's spoiled and you're just like, I can't do anything with this. That's what passion does, but passion fuels you to be creative, to connect with people, and to do what you do. I want to thank Patricia with Cork and Charm for introducing you and bringing you to our forefront so we can have this conversation. I've really enjoyed what we spoke about. And you're an inspiration to me. You're an inspiration to Delco. I'm great for your time today. And I can't wait to see all that you're doing out in the Delco community. Thanks for joining us today, and just have an outstanding rest of your day.
You do the same on purpose, man. Have a great one. Thanks a lot.
Hey, it's Rich. Thank you so much for being a listener to the What's Happening Delco podcast. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to learn more about the people and businesses in our community. I have been a real estate agent for over 25 years, working with first-time home buyers to last-time home sellers. As a listener of the podcast, my gift to you is a complimentary 1-year American Home Shield home warranty. This is for buyers and sellers that I help. If you're looking to move anywhere in the United States, I have you covered with an amazing network of real estate agents. I look forward to hearing from you. My direct line is 215-313-3777, or you can email me at rshaneremax@comcast.net. Oh, by the way, I am never too busy for any of your referrals.